Hello and welcome to this video. In this video, this is the video 7 in my 2022 Windows Server lecture series. So far what we have created one domain controller and created another secondary domain controller and then joined this one back to the domain that we created that we are calling it uh, cloud.local. And in this video, we want to join a couple of client machines to this particular domain controller. Okay, and our lab setup, if you go and take a look at it, we have assigned 10.0.0.1 IP address space for domain controller 1, and for the domain controller 2 we have assigned 10.0.0.2. Okay, so say Windows 7 we want to assign 10.0.0.3, and Windows 10 we would like to assign the IP address 10.0.0.4. Now in this one we have AD Active Directory domain services running. We also have the DNS service that we have installed. Same services are also running in the other server, right? DNS. So what we have to verify that our IPs are properly configured, they can ping each other, and also they can ping cloud.local. Okay, so that will tell us that our DNS is also working properly, and we'll do that from both of the machines. And if we have success, then we should be able to easily join our domain from the client machine. So over here, let's see what we have. Okay, so cancel, and let's see what we have here. So in this DC1, I'm just gonna go to CMD, bring up an IP config just to verify that my IP address is 1. Okay, that's all I need. And then from, let's say, start with maybe Windows 7. Okay, so let's start this Windows 7 and start the Windows normally. And let's see if I have already joined this particular machine to something. So what I'll do, I'm gonna power off this machine and I'm gonna go back to this previous state, go to restore mode, uh, so go back, and that will put me to the go back state, which should be a Windows 7 after after the fresh install. So let's open up that version. So I have a Windows 7, and then over here what I'll do, I'll go to system. Let's see, I think I may have to go to the system. Yeah, we have to go to the system and then go and click the change setting button. Okay, this one in here you gotta click on the change. Okay, computer name, the change, it says to rename this computer or change the domain. Click change. So we're gonna click on change, and right now you see it's now connected to the work group. What we will do, we can keep the computer name as Windows 7, that's fine, but over here member I'm going to change to domain, and I'm going to call it cloud dot local. Okay, I have to make it dot local, and let's see if I hit OK, if it's actually responding. You see that it did not. It says, hey, for this domain could not be contacted. The reason is most likely you don't have the IP address properly configured. So if you go there and type ipconfig, you see that you have an address 10.0.2.15, but you have your default gateway that does not seem correct. So the way you need to set it up, your default gateway needs to be the server that we have created. So that's the way I have been configuring. So let's just come back over here. So what we'll do, before we do this, we gotta go to, say, well, I can go it from here, like right this button. If I take my mouse over there, right click on it, it says open network and sharing center. Go there and click on change adapter setting. So this one comes up, double click on it and then hit properties. And then I want to mess with my not mess fix my internet protocol version. And instead of obtaining an IP address automatically, what I'll do, I'll use the following IP address, and then I want 10, then 0 0 and then 3 255 255 255 0, and default gateway I'm going to use 10.0.0.1, and DNS server I'm going to use the same thing, so 10.0.0.1. okay, and let's verify that matches with the lab setup that we have, 10.0.0.0.1. okay, looks good. So hit OK and hit OK and then close. Go back to your CMD one more time, do IP config and verify that you have 10.0.0.3 and 10.0.0.1. At this time, if you ping 10.0.0.1, you should be getting some response, but you are not getting anything. In this case, what you need to do, another step, go to the firewall setting and validate that all the firewalls are actually turned off, and you actually need to go to a different setting. So let's see, I'm going to type firewall, and instead of this one, just go to Windows firewall setting. Here you see everything is turned on. What I'll do, I need to turn it off, so I'm going to click on Windows, turn Windows firewall on and off. So I'm going to off and off and hit OK. So let's see, that helps with our problems. Let's now go back and then try, and this time it is also not pinging. So if it's not pinging, the last thing that you need to try is go back and look at the network setting that we have. So the way we have configured this is not a NAT setting, it has to be the internal network. Okay, then fix that one as well, and once you fix that one, open it. Okay, again, let me show you what I did. So all other, so internal network and the name is the int net, so internal network. The reason you want that, because your domain controller 1, if you go to the network, you see that it's part of the int net, which is the internal network. Domain controller 2 is the same way. If you go there, network, internal network, and int net. So here I'm gonna come here. What I'll do, I'll restart this machine, so power off and power back on. So once I have this, I should be able to ping that machine and be able to join the domain. Now I'm glad that you were learning a little bit of troubleshooting, although the video is higher, but that's okay. So let's log in and I'll say ask me later, hit OK, and oh, it says Windows license expired, so I need to probably get and install another Windows if I want to continue using this. Let's see, it's at least let me configure and do the testing that I wanted to do. Okay, let's see, come on. Okay, over here I'm gonna go to CMD and do a ping, then 10.0.0.1, and look at that. Now I'm getting the responses back properly, and I'm gonna also go do a ping, then cloud.local, and here I'm also getting the response properly. That means my DNS is working just fine. So I'm going to come back over here, do a system, and within the system I'm going to go and click on change setting. No, is it here? Yes, it's here. Then go back to the same change. Instead of workbook, now I'm going to click on domain and then provide cloud.local, hit OK, and this time you see the new window popped up because it's identified there is a domain cloud.local that's out there. So here I'm going to provide the administrator password, username and password, and hit OK. If my password is correct, it should be able to join my machine to that particular domain. Now let's see what happens. It says unknown username password. So let me try it one more time. Hit OK. And this time I'm just gonna write it down, CLOUD, then administrator, and then the password, and hit OK. I hope I do remember the password. If not, then it's gonna be a problem. So now this time look at that, I probably typed my password correctly. So it says welcome to the cloud.local domain. So hit OK. And it says you have to restart your computer to apply these changes properly. So hit OK, close, and just restart now. So what you are likely to see when you restart the machine, it's probably going to say, hey, you are now able to join the domain. You don't have to log in as the local user, which is student that I have been using for this particular uh, Windows 7. So go to machine or input, and then again, now look at that over here. It still says Win 7 student, but I don't want to log in as my local user. So I'm going to click on switch user, click on other, and now it says it's picking up the cloud domain. So here I'm going to say cloud and use the cloud administrator account again and provide the password and hit enter. And now again, I'm gonna ask Windows to ask me later about the activation and just log in to show you that now I am able to log in to the system using my domain account, and everything is working just fine. Okay, now the last thing that you may want to check, you can go and open up the DC1, go to one of the servers, and do Control Alt Del, and once you have logged in, you can now go back to your DNS server. So bring up this tool, go to tools, go to DNS, and in DNS usually this computer that just joined, a record is going to show up as the A record, and as you see, Windows 7 and the IP address is 10.0.0.3. It's now successfully joined the domain. Now once we have verified the process for Windows 10 should be very similar. So let's just start with verifying our network first. So network looks not correct, so go to the internal network and hit OK. Then let's see if I can start this one and switch. So if you have done your Windows 7 configuration and you joined just like we did properly, the process we're going to follow exactly the same. So let's just give it a second to boot up, and once we have that, okay, so here we have it. One thing okay, so here I can do student and its password. Okay, so now we are in. So let's see if I can take a quick look at the IP configuration I have. Okay, there are too many machines running. Let me just stop the Windows 7. We don't need that anymore. And I have both domain controller running, which we do not need. I'm gonna stop one of them and come back over here so I get a little bit of processing power back to this virtual machine. So CMD, now I can open this one up, and again I'm gonna do IP config And this time see 169.254. So my network card is not configured, so I'm going to go back over here again, right click, open network and internet setting, go to Ethernet, then change adapter options, double click on the Ethernet, go to properties and double click on IPv4. Now I'm going to configure my machine as 10.0.0.4, that is what we agreed, and then 255, then 255, then 255.0 is good. Default gateway is going to be the IP address of my domain controller, so 10.0.0.1, and the preferred DNS is again the same as 10.0.0.1, which is my domain controller 1, so 10.0.0.1. So hit OK. OK, yes is fine, and then close. And where I would like you to rerun the command one more time, ipconfig, and now you see that your IP configuration is just fine. So now you can ping my domain controller 10.0.0.1. You should get response back, and you are getting responses back, which is great. Also verify that your DNS is working. Just do cloud.local, and it did not work. So we need to validate that our configuration actually worked properly. So let's just go back one more time, go to Ethernet, go to adapter, go there, properties, go back to IPv4. Okay, 10.0.0.1 looks good, 10.0.0.4 looks good, they all look good. So I would think that my DNS should be working just fine. So let's come back over here. Okay, ping cloud dot. I'm just gonna. Okay, so now it's working. For whatever reason, the lowercase didn't work. So I'm actually gonna try it one more time. Now it's worked. So it took just a little bit of time for the DNS to propagate. So now it's working. So once it's working again, I can go to the system. Let's see. This system is probably the best place to go. And rename this PC. No, I don't want that. So I need to go to something similar where we went before. So let's see if I can find what setting to go real quick. Advanced system setting is where we need to go most likely. So computer name, then change. So okay, so what I did notice that I went down to the advanced system setting, then went to computer name, change, and this time I'm gonna call it Windows 10 here, and we're also gonna join this domain, and this domain is cyber.local. Let's put everything in caps, local, and hit OK. And if there is a domain available and if it can reach it, it should give me a pop-up and tell me, hey, what is the user name and password for the admin user for the domain. So in this case, it says could not be contacted. Okay, the another thing I want to do before I, not cyber, I'm sorry, it's the cloud.local is the domain that I wanted to join. So again, that's if you, by mistake, if you type something else, you have a trouble. So over here, I want to provide cloud, then administrator, and then password is going to be your password that I have configured, and I'm gonna say OK. And now since this domain actually exists, we should be able to join this particular computer, and it should give you a nice little pop-up and say, hey, welcome to this domain, something like that, and then you will have to restart your machine. So let's just get to that. Let's just trying to register and join this Windows 10 machine back to the domain that you have created locally, which is cloud.local. Here we go. Now it says welcome to cloud.local. Hit OK. Then you must restart. Hit OK. And then close. It will automatically start the restart process. And now you have successfully registered two different clients back to the domain controller that you have created. Okay, so that's all in this video. So once you do this, you can go back to the DNS entry once again and validate that your domain name and everything is correct. And if you really want to do that quickly, let me just go back in here and see if it has already created a record for that one. Looks like it has not yet, so this one has to come back on, and you may have to wait just a little. And if you want to log in again, do the same thing. Go to other user and again join as administrator, and, and provide the password. And also it says not correct, so I'll just do make it and sometimes if it does not work, just to be sure, I add the backslash and add the domain name in there and see that I can log in just fine. So that gives me a lot of confidence. If I go back in here again to the server and refresh this DNS record, there we go. You see the Windows 10 that we have just connected and joined to the domain, that record also showed up in our domain controller. Okay, so we have done successfully completed the domain join of the client machines, both Windows 7 and Windows 10, and that is all I wanted to show you in this video. Thank you.